So with Excel charts, it's very easy to create a vertical column in your line chart, and we can make it even interactive with a scroll bar. Okay, so we're going to be having some fun with this tutorial. So the reason why we're doing this is because we can use the vertical column. You could see here in our line chart, right? There's a vertical bar over here. So you could highlight a specific point in your Excel chart while you're presenting your data, let's say, to your stakeholders. Okay, so if we move this one, right? So if we move this, you can just change on where your vertical line is showing up. Okay, so you can just put an emphasis, right? Which is really cool. At first, when I tried this out, it doesn't seem to be possible at all, right? But we're going to be showing this step by step. Okay, so here's what I'll do. I'll just delete everything first, okay? So that we can create our chart from scratch. Okay. First step is make sure that there's a new column of vertical line over here, right? So it's right beside our sales data, wherein we have the sales period and then we have the sales numbers. Okay. So this vertical line over here, right? You'll see on where we'll be using it later. Okay. So select the entire table. Okay, so let me just select this and let's go to insert, right? Let's look for recommended charts. Let's go to all charts and then let's go to line charts. Okay, now we want to select line with markers. Okay, yep, it's looking good. Let's go okay, right? This is what we want to show, right? The sales numbers over here in the red. So that's good. Okay, the next step is we need to select the chart. Okay, let's go to the design. We want to change the chart type. So let's select that. Now we need to go to combo and then there's going to be a selection of custom combination. So this is what we're going to be using. Okay, so now once we have this selected, make sure that's selected. Okay, for the vertical line series, so we want to change the chart type to clustered column and check the secondary axis. Okay, so let me just move this a bit so that we can see our changes as well that's happening to the chart. Make sure that clustered column is selected. Okay, let's go to secondary axis as well. Make sure that's checked. And the reason why we're doing this is this will transform the vertical line series, right, into a vertical column in your chart. So that's the cool bit that you could see moving, right, a while ago. And we need to make sure that the sales period and the sales as well, right, are both line with markers chart type. So let's go over here. Let's make sure this one's selected, line with markers. Okay, line with markers as well. Okay, that's looking good. Let's go okay. Now we need to double click your secondary axis, right, on the far most right, so which is this one. So we want to view the format axis panel. Okay, so let's just double click on this. So now we need to set a maximum of 100 because that's what we want to represent for the vertical bar. Okay, so let's set this to 100 over here. So this is going to ensure that the vertical line extends all the way to the top, since we place in the value of 100. So next is click on the labels and change the label position to none. Cool. Now you can't see it anymore. The next step is to clean up our chart, right? Notice that there is a sales period series over here. Okay, so right click on that and delete that one because we don't need that anymore. Now what we'll do is, let me just try to add here, and you could now see that it's showing up the vertical bar, right? Because we've already set it up a while ago. And now what we need to do is we want to double click on the vertical bar. We can make changes to it, right? So let's double click on it. We want to make it slimmer. Okay, so we now have the format data to point pane, and we want to set the gap width into, let's try it out with 500%. Let's have a look, right? You can see that it got thinner now. Now it's time for us, it's looking good at the moment, it's time for us to try out our interactive chart. So let's try this out. Let me just delete the vertical line. Let's just try out a different section and see what happens. Okay, so you can see that it moved to a different spot. Let's try it out, let's say over here. right? And you can see that it moved as well to this spot, right, to 10. Okay, it's looking good. It's working, right? The vertical line is moving as expected, but it's lacking something, right? It's not that interactive because you wouldn't want to like type 100 at different spots whenever you want to move your vertical line. Okay, so here's a cooler trick on how we can make your vertical bar become dynamic. Okay, so for this one, we need the developer tab to do that. If you don't have developer tab enabled yet, it is very easy to enable this. So I'll show you how. You just go to File. Let's go to Options. And then let's go to Customize Ribbon. And you should be able to see all of the cool options over here. So let's just go to Main Tabs. You could see here, right? And then you just need to make sure that your developer tab is ticked over here. Okay. So in my case, I already ticked this before. So if you're not seeing the developer tab, then you just need to make sure that you have your checkbox, right, ticked over here. Okay, once you're done, go OK, and you should be able to see your developer tab show up over here. Now let's work our magic. And inside the developer tab, let's go to Insert and then Form Controls. So under Form Controls, there's going to be a scroll bar in here. Okay. Select this and create a scroll bar now. So just put this on top of your graph over here. Okay, now right click on the scroll bar and go to Format Control. What we want to do here, okay, is to set the maximum value to 12. So this will depict our sales periods from 1 to 12. So the question is, how will we link this scroll bar over here to the vertical line? Okay, so this is done by the cell link. So what we're gonna do here in the cell link, right, is we're gonna be placing in D5. Okay, let's just create a cell. Use this cell D5 over here, this blank cell over here. Okay, and this will show the value of the scroll bar in this cell, so you can see which sales period it's pointing to. Okay, so once we're good, press OK. In the vertical line column, place in this formula over here. So let's type in if A5, right, which is this sales period over here, is equal to, so the scroll bar that we had is whenever you change the value, it will just populate D5, right, with a number from 1 to 12. So what we're going to do here is, let me just add in D5, right, this cell over here, and if they're equal, then you want to place in a value of 100, but if not, then just return a blank value. Okay, so let me just delete this for now. And the reason why we did this is because if we placed in your scroll bar, for example, as a value of 1, okay, then it's gonna be populating this with 1, right? Because A5, 1 is equal to D5 because that's the one you selected at the moment. And once they're equal, it populates it with 100 value. So if we go for 2, right, since this one is not equivalent anymore, then this won't get populated and our vertical line disappears as well. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Since this vertical line over here is linked to this one, so it will just display accordingly. But hold on, you might be wondering, how come we already placed this 2 and nothing's showing up over here? It's because we only place our formula on the first row, on the first sales period. On the other sales periods, we don't have the formula yet over here. So here's what we'll do, right? Let's just drag this all the way down to copy the formulas to all of the sales periods. So if we put here, you could see, right, 100 being populated now on sales period 2. Right, if we move here, right, 3, 4, 5, and we move all the way to number 12. And that's working perfectly. We have all of our pieces in place, right? So which is why it's now moving as expected.